Welcome to the Elite Network, introducing the finest talent and motivational speakers. I'm Minnie Foxx, and we're so delighted that you've decided to join us today as we inspire our communities through powerful awareness. Today, our special guest is from our elite profile of business. He is a powerhouse attorney, internationally known and celebrated throughout America, as well as a dear friend, commanding the world of criminal defense, civil, state, and trials. You know, he's known for his unique flair, a powerhouse of defense for not only celebrities like Robert Blake and Michael Jackson, but for the communities, the essence of the communities like you and me. Please help me to welcome, beyond the law, our special guest, international known attorney Thomas A. Mesereau, Jr. Welcome, Tom.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us today. I'd like to start with a question about your name. Your name is, I believe it was already famous as you were a little baby. Could you tell us a little bit about how your name came about to your family?
Well, the name is a French name. My background is more Irish and Italian. My two grandmothers were Irish. My mother's father was Italian. My father's father was a mixture of Irish and French and a couple of other nationalities, but it's a French name.
Now, I understand that your father was a very special man, and I want to show this picture of Thomas, his sister, and his mother and father when he was little. And your father was famous for what?
Well, he was a West Point graduate. He was the highest ranking member of his West Point class. He was a heavily decorated parachute battalion commander in World War II. He also was an All-America football player.
I have to ask you, Tom, you're here, you're playing this, is that a little guitar there?
Right.
Okay.
Right. I think it's called a mandolin.
A mandolin?
Yeah.
Okay. When you were this small, if someone had told you that you would be who you are today, would you have believed them?
Probably not. I don't think I thought much about what being a lawyer meant when I was little, although my father always told me that he wished he'd gone to law school. And he said, if you're not really sure what you want to do with your life, consider it, because he thought it was good training for a lot of things, including business, politics, being a lawyer itself. And he gave me very good advice in that regard.
Well, during your college years, you went to some really wonderful law schools. Could you share with us what your education was?
Well, I went to Harvard University as an undergraduate. I got a Master of Science degree from the London School of Economics in London, England. And I went for law school at the University of California's Hastings College of Law.
Now, you took all that education and training and you became a criminal defense attorney. You could have been defending people for small trials and misdemeanors, but criminal defense is very big because that includes murder, and you'd have to do something really, really bad to get you to defend a person.
No,
right?
I do misdemeanors. I still do them, and I do civil work. I did try other specialties as a lawyer early in my career before I learned where I really wanted to be. I did try corporate work. I was with a corporation. I was a prosecutor. I was with a big law firm. And none of this really satisfied me long term. And then I discovered that civil rights and criminal defense were my main interests. But I defend the gamut of types of crimes, from misdemeanors to felonies.
Okay. You have a law firm in Santa Monica.
Not in Santa Monica, no. It's in Century City.
Century City,
Yes.
okay. And you have a partner.
Yes.
And I hear that she's the backbone to your business, and the two of you make a fabulous team. Could you tell us a little bit about your partner?
Well, she was my co-counsel in the Michael Jackson case and in the Robert Blake case. Her name is Susan Yu. She's a brilliant lawyer. She specializes more in civil law than criminal, whereas I specialize more in criminal law than civil, so we make a good team. And she's a terrific lawyer and a good person, and we make good partners.
I understand that you love to read.
Yes, I do.
And for you, reading is the key to major success. And I do know that you have spoken to a lot of young people about education and how reading has helped you to become who you are. And through your reading, you have a personal touch where sometimes you will write the foreword for a particular book or give your comments for a particular newspaper or magazine. And I have one of the books here today that you did the foreword on, am I correct?
That's right.
Okay, this is the Michael Jackson Conspiracy, and it was written by Aphrodite Jones. Could you tell us just briefly a little bit about the foreword that you did here for her?
Yes. As you know, I defended Michael Jackson. I was his lead counsel, and he was acquitted of all counts. And during the trial, I was intentionally staying away from the media, because the media was against us. I thought the media really wanted a conviction because it would generate more stories and airtime and drama for them. And Aphrodite Jones was a journalist who I would not look at or talk to during the trial because I thought she was pro-prosecution and I just didn't want to be around her. About a year after the trial ended, I bumped into her at an art gallery, and she told me she had been thinking about what the media did to Michael Jackson, and she didn't think they were really did a good job in accurately reporting the trial or in treating him fairly. She said she was about to write a book about it, to say she was part of something that was not right. And I wasn't sure I trusted her, but she started sending me these drafts for a book. I started reading them, and I said, you know, she's being honest. So I agreed to write the foreword for her book, and it was recently published.
So obviously you believed in what she had to say.
Yes,
okay.
I did.
Barbara Walters named you as one of the most fascinating people of the year, and GQ magazine named you as the man of the year. And we were excited about that for you. But we want to name you as the best dressed elite attorney of the year. Because as you know, whenever you see him, it's the suits, the ties, the hair, the dimples, the smile, and believe it or not, he has a hearty laugh. And we love to hear him talk and tell about his stories. And we're going to move to a clip which will give Tom a little flash from his past, and we'll be right back.
Allowed ABC News exclusive access as he toured the church Sunday school, surprising preteen fans with autographs and answering questions. Throughout the day, Jackson was flanked by brother Randy and defense attorney Tom Mesereau, who is a founder of the church's legal clinic. Mesereau will be center stage in court this morning, grilling Jackson's longtime adversary, prosecutor Tom Sneddon.
Now, looking at that clip, we want to talk about your community service and what you are doing for the African American communities, the Armenian communities, and abroad. Could you just enlighten us a little bit of what you've been doing in Alabama?
Well, I've been traveling to Alabama since the 90s, defending death penalty cases free. I'm against the death penalty, and I see a lot of people, particularly people of color, who are wrongfully accused and don't get the proper defenses they should get. So I decided in the 90s that I would go into the Deep South every year and defend someone who's facing the ultimate punishment, which is death. I've done it in Mississippi, and I do it primarily in Alabama. As far as the community in Los Angeles goes, I did help found a free legal clinic at Brookings AME Church. For many years before that, I worked at a free legal clinic at First African Methodist Episcopal Church when Pastor Cecil Murray was there. And I've helped other clinics as well. There's a group called Save Our Sons at Crenshaw United Methodist Church. There's a group called Families Against California 3 Strikes that I work with. I march with the Mothers of Watts every year against gang violence and do what I can to help people who need direction and need some inspiration. And if I can do something in my short life that's positive, I think that's a good idea.
I think you've done that, and you've done a great job at that. We're so very proud to have you today. I want to bring your attention to a case in Alabama that you did for a homeless black man. If you could just enlighten us on that just a teeny bit so the audience will know when you go to Alabama how your peers are overwhelmingly accepting to you down there, but at the same time you are faced with a lot of adverse prejudice, and some of the community there is not as welcoming to you as most.
Well, I've had some good experiences in the legal system in Alabama. No place is perfect, but Alabama, while it has a difficult history, has been under a microscope for many years and has made tremendous advances in the area of civil rights. In some ways, I think they're more advanced than here, to tell you the truth. They have a wonderful Civil Rights Institute. You have a diverse juries in Birmingham, Alabama, where I've handled some cases. And the case you're talking about was the first case I got involved in the Deep South, and that was a homeless black man charged with murdering a beautiful white girl at a trendy part of town in Birmingham. And I got a call from a friend who knew some lawyers who were defending him, who wanted some help. I went down and met them. We became instant friends and professional colleagues, and I met the potential client. And I truly believed he was innocent, and we defended the case, and it was a not guilty verdict.
But how do you handle the prejudiceness when you're defending someone who is African American, and you come in and you're a Caucasian attorney? you defend this person, you get them off, and then everybody's against you. How do you handle that?
Well, not everybody's against you. Some people were very upset by the verdict. People who thought he was guilty were very upset. The family of the young lady who was slain were very, very upset. My co-counsel was getting messages on his machine that he was a nigger lover, and he went to the local stations and played those messages, and things were tense for sure. But we had a very diverse and very fair jury. We had a very, very professional judge, and justice was done. I have to tell you, the Deep South does have some prejudice, but no more so than Los Angeles. And at least they have a wonderful civil rights institute. We don't. So I often hear people here of all races talk about the South in a disparaging way, and I look at them and say, let me tell you something, look in your own backyard, because things aren't so perfect here, and in many ways they're more advanced there.
Well, you've had the opportunity to not only defend celebrities, but you've defended firemen, husbands, wives, swimming instructors. Could you tell us a little bit about a case that hasn't happened yet that you would like to defend, that you know that you could bring justice to?
Well, it's hard to answer that question. You never know what case is going to come through your door at the office. And there's always injustice, because even though we have probably the best legal system in the world, it makes mistakes, it has problems, because human beings run it, and human beings are not perfect. Only God's perfect. So I never know who's going to call me or what the problem is going to be. I think I'm part of a great profession. I think we have the opportunity to do a lot of good, a lot of justice in the community and in the nation, and I just look forward to doing things in my lifetime that make a difference.
I want to reflect to Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream. And Martin Luther King was a great leader for all people. He had a lot of sacrifices in doing the things that he did to be able to be heard and to help his community achieve justice. You, like Martin Luther King, no doubt have a lot of sacrifices, I'm sure, that you go through to be who you are. And the Michael Jackson trial was a very lengthy trial. What were some of the sacrifices that you did to prepare for that trial, to get ready to be on top of what you had to give the judge and the jury?
Well, first of all, I don't think I belong in the same paragraph as Martin Luther King Jr. He was one of the greatest human beings that ever lived on the planet. He is one of the greatest speakers, one of the greatest leaders that ever lived. He lost his life in his 30s. He was shot by a white racist because of what he was doing to make America a better place. And he's one of my great heroes of all time. As far as the Jackson case goes, it was a very, very lengthy case, as you said. There was a tremendous amount of opposition to my stated, position that he was absolutely innocent. The prosecutors, spent millions and millions of dollars hiring every kind of expert, every kind of investigator. They were trying to skew the media against us. They had 70 sheriffs raid his home, so we had a lot of obstacles.
But did you walk? Did you run? Did you read? You said you prepared. You had to read all those different documents. What worked best for you? Did you drink coffee? You have soda pop? You eat chips? What made you?
I lived a very reclusive life. I was in bed at 7:30 or 8 o'clock every night. I was up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I did about 3.5 hours of concentrated work in the early morning before I went to court. I had my pot of coffee, yes. I did watch my diet, made sure I got my sleep. It was a 5-month trial. There were about 140 witnesses in the trial. I probably examined close to 120 of them. It was very stressful. The stakes were very high. I don't think Michael Jackson would have lived if he'd gone to prison. And justice was done. He was acquitted of all counts, 10 felonies, 4 misdemeanors, and he was vindicated. I'm very happy about that.
I think justice was done in just about every trial that you've put your hands on. You've had so many acquittals and very few hung juries. I mean, reading your profile was like reading a Bible. It goes on and on and on. You have accomplishments that most people can't achieve in a lifetime. So we want to applaud you for that. I want you to join us back in just a moment and find out why Attorney Thomas Mesereau is simply the best cross-examiner, far beyond the law. His track record, you just will not believe, after this special announcement.
This is why I hold while I maintain higher ground. And I've taught the young girls how to walk and talk and be ladies, and the young men to be strong and understanding. I've laughed and I've cried with the children, so I'm here to tell you that joy comes in the morning. The power is within. You grab hold and you maintain higher ground.
Let's give it up for Minnie Foxx.
I am a product of women, thousands of women with courage.
Welcome back. Welcome back to the Elite Network with today's special guest, Attorney A. Thomas Mesereau. Now the A stands for?
It's my middle name, it's Arthur.
It's Arthur. Okay, now you have to know this. This is the opportunity of a lifetime. So, should I be a little nervous? Yes, I'm probably very nervous to be in the presence of Attorney Mesereau, but guess what? I know that you enjoy ties. I know that you have a elaborate collection of ties. So I took the liberty of getting a Versace tie.
I like that tie.
Yes, I know you like this tie.
And I like purple.
Your favorite designer, and you like purple, so I guess I'm in now. But this brings me to the point of wanting to talk a little bit about your awards and how the world and communities have accepted you. I know you received the Collier Image Studios Award for Best Civil Rights Attorney. You received an award for Humanitarian for the National Association of Blacks in Criminal Justice. And tell us a little bit about some of your awards. I want you to brag on yourself, something that you get to do yourself.
Well, I don't brag. I'm not that kind of person. I don't like to do that. But I've been fortunate to receive a number of awards from criminal defense lawyers, from civil rights organizations, and I'm very proud of them, and I feel very lucky.
And your list goes on. You have awards from the Women's Missionary Society, First AME Church. While you've been awarded by the Bar Association.
I've received some awards from the California State Bar and the Century City Bar Association.
Criminal Defense Lawyer of the Year.
Right.
Yes. So, taking into account all the things you've done your entire life, starting with this little young man in this picture, isn't he gorgeous, to who you are today, how does it feel to be Attorney Thomas A. Mesereau, Jr.?
It feels good. I feel very blessed by God. I feel very honored to have been able to see and experience a lot of the things I have. And listen, it's a very difficult world we live in, and just to have woken up this morning healthy with opportunity, I think we're all blessed. I really do.
You've also had the opportunities in great measure to speak at several colleges, schools, to be a motivational speaker at kids' events, and speaking on our youth. They adore you. And when they see you, they run to you. I've witnessed that for myself. And you sit back and you think, well, was it the hair that they recognized? Was it your suit, or was it just your presence? And what it is, clearly, is you're known international. And these kids see you and they're like, wow. And to be able to have young people whose lives you are touching and you're motivating them, what message would you have for a young person?
Well, if I can motivate one child to read, to study hard, to stay away from violence, to improve their skills, to believe that they really count, I think I will have accomplished something. And I do love to go to schools where we have so much violence, we have so many young people who are misdirected, who aren't thinking about the future. If I can just inspire anybody to lead a good, productive, positive life, to realize that they absolutely count on this earth, that God put them here for a very positive and valid reason, I will have accomplished something.
On a personal note, Tom, I have this wonderful book here called No Acting Please. And it's by an author who is Eric Morris. He is a famous instructor for acting.
He's a method acting instructor, yes. He's a friend of mine.
He's a friend of yours?
Yes.
If you could say maybe a few words about what makes this book so special, what makes Eric so special, and how he touches people in relation to how you do.
Well, he's a person who believes that to be a real actor, you have to know who you are and be comfortable with who you are. And he starts with that premise. And he's inspired a lot of people, not just actors, to really understand who they are, to understand their feelings and their emotions, and to be natural, to be honest, to be authentic when they present themselves to the world. And his purpose is to train actors, but in reality, he's a great therapist because he teaches people how important it is not to be artificial, not to be rehearsed, to just be exactly who they are, understand their feelings, and be proud of them.
And obviously, he's touched you in some light.
He has. He's a brilliant man. I've known him for a number of years, and I watched some of his classes, and I really appreciate what he does.
I've had a wonderful opportunity over the years to watch you in action. I've watched you in the courtroom. I've seen you speak at several events, and I never see you like me today with paper in front of you. You're always straight, on point, very well thought out. And what is the technique that you use to do that? It just comes to you that way.
Well, I think a lot about what I'm going to say in advance, and I don't think anyone who reads what they're going to say is as effective. I think you want to be naturally you, express yourself just naturally the way you do. I do prepare. I do think a lot about my remarks, and I think it's very important in the courtroom also to be exactly who you are, no more and no less. Don't try and copy someone else's emotions or feelings or words. Sure, study other people, study great lawyers, study great people, great orators, but ultimately the most effective way to be you is to be you.
Well, some of us, Tom, we need this piece of paper so we can keep up to be able to make sure we're getting all our points across. Well noted. I'd like to have you just make a comment about our dear Johnny Cochran in the same field that you were in, who was knocking down doors and helping people in many ways like you have. And if you would just take a moment to kind of reflect on Mr. Cochran for us.
He was the greatest trial lawyer I've ever seen. He was a great human being. He was enormously talented and developed his talents. He loved people, he understood people, and he fought hard for civil rights and justice in Los Angeles and in America. A truly great person.
I know that the world is waiting for you to have a book, and you're probably working on one real soon, and we want to be the first out there helping you push that book along when you're finished with it. Is there anything that you would like to say to our audience in regards to your community service, maybe some of the wars that you've done, you know, the great responsibility that you've had where you have taken a life and you've saved a life, and in doing so you've also inspired other lives?
Well, I like my work. You know, I didn't always know where I belonged. It took me a while to experiment with different areas of the law, and I was not always the most focused person when I was younger. I was confused, but I kept trying. And I discovered that being a lawyer can open up so many doors. You can make a difference. You can bring justice where there is none. You can save lives who are being wrongfully prosecuted and wrongfully threatened. And I haven't started a book yet. I'm writing articles, you know, on occasion about trial lawyers and civil rights issues. But at some time I will, and I think I have a lot of things that I'd like to say at the right moment, but it's not right now.
That would be great.
Thank you.
And we'll be there to support you.
Thank you very much.
Well, we got him to laugh. We got him to smile. We have been graced by his wonderful style with his ties and tailored suits, and inspired by the words that he's had to say, both in the community, raising our youth, and sharing what it's like to be beyond the law. We invite you to join us for our next show as we inspire people and we bring awareness to the communities for domestic violence and mentoring our youth. Talented leaders telling their stories. Thomas Mesereau, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Minnie. I appreciate it very much.
We congratulate and applaud you and all of your work that you've done, and we know that God has a master plan for you, which you're already in the middle, and He has much more work for you to do.
Thank you very much. It was an honor to be here.
Thank you. If you have a special talent to share or a special story, contact us. Our information is at the end of the credits. And remember that through hope, faith, and prayer is your power within. We will see you next time on the Elite Network. Go out, tell a friend that we exist, and together we can change the world.